enough to not eat them and not wear them. We have to use our voices. And activism is so rewarding because not only do you not contribute towards it, but you are striving to prevent it from happening. It breaks my heart, no exaggeration, to see the way that we treat animals as a world, as a nation. It is your duty, your obligation to go vegan. This has to stop. No negotiations. Or this world will not experience future generations. Vegans are pushy and use intimidation, but we do our best to hold back frustration. Sometimes it is desperation. Slit throats, castrations and mutilations. This has existed before every movement, the whole duration. All aboard the train of death, the slaughterhouse is the next station. Is this how we treat God's beautiful creations? Their life is more important than your temptation. Join this movement, let's get information. The cracks are building in your excuses, foundations. Freedom is not a privilege, it is a birthright. Not only intended for humans, so let's just recite. Thou shalt not kill! That's the wrong part to highlight. No, I will flick the switch on and I will leave it under the spotlight. Because as long as you don't have to witness it, it stays out of sight. Sometimes I can't hold my tongue and exercise being polite. Because thou shalt not kill applies to animals too. Or is it because they are deemed less important than you? Says who? The animal's time has come, it is long overdue. I am not talking about only a few. Over 50 billion animals are murdered every year. Injustice and death suffocate our world's atmosphere. Imagine living in constant fear. This cannot be justified any longer. Veganism and animal rights are growing stronger, but the fight is still ongoing. We are here to portray what the media's not showing. Taking advantage of the unknowing. The blood in your cup is overflowing. Now it has spilled and tainted your hands red. With the blood of 1,000 innocent beings now dead. All for a piece of flesh to put in between your bread. And we have the audacity to claim that's why they are bred. Let's flip the table over and put yourself in their position. Kept in unnatural, disgusting conditions. All for someone to claim it's tradition. Oh, you wouldn't mind? I have my suspicions. Because if it were you, you would scream to be free. So I will never be quiet, as we all possess the key to unlock their cage. Just don't buy it anymore. Because believe it or not, we are not omnivores. Let's put it another way. Our body is able to digest processed foods. But that does not mean that it is natural to do. They are both detrimental to our health, that's a fact and it's true. I dare you to enter a slaughterhouse or animal laboratory. Oh wait, you can't. It's illegal due to the authorities because that is their territory to inflict suffering and pain in all its glory. But every animal in there has a story. Oh, but you should respect my right to consume animal products, it's my choice. Not when your food had a voice. Not when there's a victim on the other end of your knife. Well, guess what? I've never had a piece of meat in my life. I am happy, I am healthy, and I am alive. Justification 3 is that they've had a good life. But that's not good enough. You think you've had it tough? You think you've had it rough? You are free. And as far as they can see, they never will be. Let me introduce you to my king. His name is Gary Yourofsky. Watch his content with an open mind, and I guarantee you will agree that this is not the way that we are meant to be. Polluting our waters and cutting down our trees. Open your hearts and practice the action of mercy. We need to respect animals, natures and seas. So let my voice pound like the beat of a drum over a world who happily remains silent and dumb. Let my words echo honesty and truth. Speak up for them like you'd want if it was you, because apparently equality for all is hard to construe. While their babies are snatched and their throats are cut through, their eyes are injected with burning chemicals, all for a new shampoo. Standing at the top of this world, and it is a tragic view. Animals trapped in a prison disguised as a zoo, except the only crime that they have ever committed was being born. One day the sun will rise over dawn, over a vegan planet!
want to be free. Animals deserve to be free. Animals feel pain. Animals beg for mercy. Animals cry out in terror. Animals want to be free. Animals deserve to be free. Animals love their families. Animals love their babies.
Know that when we leave here today, that is not the end. It is only the beginning. It is the beginning of a new era of animal rights. The beginning of a new world where all animals are treated with love, respect, compassion and kindness, regardless of their species. Let it be known that when we leave here today, we leave as activists, bound by our moral duty to speak up on behalf of those who are oppressed. It is time for us to do what must be done and not what is easy. To do what is necessary and not what is convenient. We have an obligation to fight on behalf of those who cannot fight for themselves. It is believed by many that veganism is the moral baseline. However, this is untrue. Vegan activism is the moral baseline. And there's an analogy that sums this up perfectly. And the analogy goes, there is a man beating a dog with a stick. A second man comes down the road and sees the man beating the dog. Now the man with the stick says to the other man, I have another stick. Come join me and we'll beat and kill this dog together. Now the second man has three options. The first choice he can make is he can say, sure, I'll grab that second stick and I'll beat that dog with you. The second choice the man can make is he can say, I see what you are doing. What you are doing is wrong and immoral, and I will not participate in what you are doing. In essence, the second choice is veganism. Veganism is non-participation. It's seen an industry or an act that you don't agree with, and it's saying that you will not participate in it. But most importantly, the dog still gets beaten and still dies if the man takes the second option. The third option the man can take is he says, I see what you are doing. What you are doing is wrong and immoral, and not only will I not participate, but I will actively intervene and stop you. The third choice is vegan activism, because it's the only choice the man can make where the dog's life is saved, and as such, becoming an activist is the only choice that we can make which saves the lives of animals. It is time for us to stand up, speak up, and say no longer will we tolerate these industries that exploit and murder animals. No longer will we remain silent whilst those we care about are suffering. No longer will we allow these industries to continue. No longer will we allow these acts of evil to be carried out. Not in my name! These industries may have fooled us, deceived us into thinking it was okay to support the slaughter of animals, but no longer will we stand for it. And the fight ahead will not be easy. We will face challenges because the corporations and industries that we are up against will not go down without a fight. But they will not win. They will never win. Because for all of their money and for all of their political influence, we have one thing they will never have. We have the truth. Wow, this is really incredible. Thank you so much. That was really powerful for me. Yeah, thank you. And what if it was you in the truck on the way to the slaughterhouse? What if it was you tied down to the operating table in the laboratory? What if it was you in that cage in the fur farm, or you in that circus ring being goaded to perform tricks? What would you expect of those who claim to care about you? Would you expect them to be silent, or would you expect them to rise up, stand up, and protect you? To understand why we must all be active, we need only put ourselves in their position, feel their pain, feel their suffering, feel their anguish for 1 second. This is why we must all be active, because if it was us in their position, we would expect others to fight on our behalf. I promise you a future exists where the last wall of every slaughterhouse is knocked to the ground. I promise you a future exists where every cage and every laboratory is empty forever. I promise you a future exists where every animal in the wild is allowed to roam freely without fear of being hunted by humans. I promise you a future exists where every animal is treated with love, respect, kindness, dignity and compassion. I promise you a future exists where the last animal farm is closed and burnt to the ground. But if we want to make this future a reality, if we want to see a vegan world, then it's time that we all face the burden that lies on each and every one of our shoulders. Don't expect others to fight the battles that we all must collectively share. Don't expect others to create this world on their own. The future is there in front of us, but we must seize it together. There is no more time for excuses, no more time for complacency or apathy. Now is the time to come together, to fight together, and to win together. Each and every one of you came here today because you felt that fire inside of you, the obligation to make your voice heard and to oppose the industries that think they can exploit and kill animals without consequence. Every single one of you came here today because you felt that responsibility, that desire to create a brighter future for all life. Every single one of you came here today so that when the future generations ask you, what did you do? You can say that you stood on the right side of history. Most of us weren't born vegan. Many of us paid for animals to suffer and die. Animals suffered and died for us, so that we can eat their flesh and wear their skin. And as such, we have a moral obligation to fight to protect their brothers and sisters. But we fight not only to protect the animals that are yet to be bred, we fight to beg for forgiveness from the ones that died for us before. The way I see it, animals had their lives taken from them by us. So the least we can do is fight with the rest of our lives for them. Our existence on this planet is only temporary, but the world that we leave behind will define the future and outlive us forever. Now is the time. Now is the time. The time to fight. We fight together. We fight for the animals. We fight for the planet, and we never stop fighting. We never back down. We never back down until all the animals are free. So I ask you now, what will you do today, tomorrow, and the next day to change the world and save the animals? Thank you.
Wow, that was an amazing speech, Ed. I can remember last year's march when Ed did his speech. I watched it online and it gave me chills. It gave me chills because I could see the pain in his eyes. It gave me chills because I could feel the strength, the courage, and the conviction in his voice. And now this year I have a chance to join you all and stand up here beside Ed as a display of unity. Today we put our differences aside and we join together for one struggle. Today we marched arm in arm for the most noble cause. We march for the most enslaved, oppressed, and victimised group of beings on earth ever. The animals. The animals are so defenceless and so vulnerable like children. The animals have trust in us and we have betrayed them. Humans have betrayed their trust and have systematically tortured and murdered these innocent childlike beings for something as trivial as a sandwich. Sometimes I feel ashamed to be called a human being, to stand upright. But then I look around at this sea of strong, courageous activists and it makes me so proud and so positive. I see the masses taking veganism seriously and it gives me hope. Hope and motivation that what we are doing is working. Yes, the animals are innocent. Yes, they have done nothing wrong to deserve the horrific abuse and torture humans inflict on them every second of every day. But we as activists are their defenders, and we must stand together worldwide from across countries to support each other. Today we stood together for the plight of animals. We stand together in solidarity for animal liberation, and we'll march into the streets and make sure our voices are heard. For every single time we turned a blind eye to their suffering, we owe them. For every single time we participated in their murder, we owe them. Being an activist is the very least we owe them. You know, when Ed and Luna brought out their animal rights film, Land of Hope and Glory, I watched it and I wept. I wept because I felt helpless. I wept because I could feel their suffering like it was my own and I couldn't stop it. But it was in that moment of helplessness that I realised I can do something. We can do something. We are doing something and we are not helpless. We can stop this. And by channeling all that emotion into our activism, mark my words, we will stop this. We must work tirelessly as activists towards a vegan world. We can never have peace until the animals have peace. We can never give up, no matter what. When it comes to being an activist, we have to be brave. Courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build on and work on. It's something that comes from gradually stepping outside of your comfort zone and speaking out against injustice. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Today we march together for animal liberation. We march together for the plight of animals. Today we march for those who can't march for themselves. We shout loud our truth for those who can't speak for themselves. And we'll stand up and fight for those who can't defend themselves. Never underestimate the power of a fearless, dedicated group of activists. This is the power we have when activists unite. And we won't stop until we have total animal liberation. Never give up. Thank you.
Today, millions of animals will die in the name of human greed. Every single one fights for their life. Every single one doesn't want to die. Whether it be for food, fun, sport, tradition, entertainment, culture, cosmetics, research, medicine, buildings or business, none of these is a valid excuse for animal abuse. All are simply evil. But animal agriculture is causing 51% of greenhouse gases, ocean dead zones, forest degradation and species extinction, all of which is destroying the planet. By the year 2050, 1/3 of species will be extinct. The Earth can't wait for us. We have to change now. Vegan because I love animals. It is that simple. You can never be an animal lover if you are not vegan. Becoming vegan is not extreme. Murdering and consuming flesh is the most extreme. Vegan is the future. Become part of the change and help save these creatures. When you open your mind and see the fear in their eyes, you know it is your duty to be their voice and to stand up for their lives as you would hope others would fight for you. When you purchase flesh, when you buy products that are tested on animals, when you wear fur, when you go to an animal circus or zoo, you are supporting the torture of innocent beings and breaching their right to freedom. You are helping to exploit them and are utterly disrespecting these sentient beings. You are being ignorant to their pain and broken hearts. Stop contributing to the cruelty. Don't support abuse, because animals feel just like humans. They are no less than us and deserve respect. Show compassion. Go vegan!
Whatever form of activism you do something. And if anyone here hasn't heard of the SAVE movement and what we do as activists, I'm going to very, very quickly tell you. We have local groups all across the world. Over 170 now. Started in Toronto in December 2010, and since that one small group in Canada, it has jumped across ocean and ocean, and it started in the UK last February in 2016. From a small group in Manchester with Manchester Pig Save. We are now 45 groups strong, all the way from Aberdeenshire down to Dorset and Devon. We span the whole country. And if anyone here hasn't heard of the Save movement and what we do as activists, I'm going to very, very quickly tell you. We have local groups all across the world, over 170 now. It started in Toronto. It started in Toronto in December 2010, and since that one small group in Canada, it has jumped across ocean and ocean, and it started in the UK last February in 2016. From a small group in Manchester with Manchester Pig Save, we now have, Manchester. We are now 45 groups strong, all the way from Aberdeenshire down to Dorset and Devon. We span the whole country. These groups of activists stand outside slaughterhouses and bear witness to the animals coming to their death. We approach the trucks, giving them water. We take photographs, we record videos, and we share it far and wide, and we make sure that everyone is aware of the victim, those ones that have forgotten, the animals on the way to slaughter. And it is spread far and wide on social media. And it has affected many non-vegans and has enabled many vegans to become active and join us. The strongest form of activism we have is unity. And together we are so much stronger, and every form of activism complements another. While I'm speaking now, millions more animals are being slaughtered, and we are united by our common cause to stop this.
Yes.
So as you remember all the animals that are being slaughtered, I only have one question for you. Will you fight for them?
And I'm Georgia. Together we run HeartCure Clothing. We also are a part of Sheffield Animal Save. And this year we're hoping to launch HeartCure Collective, which is a vegan social centre. This centre we hope will unite activists and vegans to inspire daily change and also provide resources for the local community to find out more about veganism. Terrified that things would continue the way they are, that people would continue to be complicit in the suffering of animals, just as we had for so long. And that's when we went to our first save. And we looked these animals in the eyes as they were on their way to slaughter, and we said sorry. And it was at that point we knew what needs to be done.
This industry thrives on secrets. They're all behind walls, and we need to expose them. As activists, we need to come together and show the fear in these animals' eyes as they're on the way to slaughter, and help expose the truth of the meat and dairy industry. Now, we all dream of a vegan world, a land where all cages are empty, and we think about this every day. And the quickest way to achieve this is through activism. Go to a save, flyer, do an Our Things experience, okay? It was activism that turned us vegan, and we can only hope that ours inspires others too. And you're not alone in this either. We can all stand together for those who can't speak. And let this be the start of a revolution.
Raise your fists in the air for me right now. For the animals in a cage, in a lab, on the way to slaughter, or alone in the dark. We can and we will fight to end their suffering. Thank you very much. Scream for me, London! Woo!
I'm just going to introduce Unoffensive Animal, as many of you may not be aware of who we are. We're an anarcho-vegan collective. We work for animal liberation, defence of the earth and solidarity with activists. I'd like to start off by saying we cannot express how amazed we are at the growth of the movement since the last Animal Rights March. The amount of new grassroots groups and organisations that's been popping up all over the UK has been inspiring. We would like to give a massive shout out to all of the groups taking part in the revolution, whether that's through bearing witness with the Save movement, Hunt Sabotage, campaigning on the computer, collecting data in media, doing outreach in your local town centre. You're all doing amazing work and it's so important and vital to the movement.
Yes!
We would also like to give a shout out to those who, out of love and compassion, put on a mask and go out there to save animals. Now I'd like to read a letter from someone who, for obvious reasons, can't be here to read this letter for themselves. In February, we entered an intensive chicken breeding unit. The trucks, which were waiting to transport the birds to slaughter the following morning, waited empty by the sheds. You could taste the smell that pervaded the air, and when the crowbar made the door give way, it punched us all in the face. The smell always stays with you, and it's something that can't be experienced through watching a video on Facebook. The smell is probably the worst part of it all. Inside, the spray paint on the walls helped us vent our rage at what we were witnessing. They came, they saw, they liberated. A modified slogan from a lab raid 20 years ago now decorated the wall where thousands of birds are grown to be murdered and packaged for your nearest supermarket. We had to ignore the dead and the rotting and focus on those who could make it. 24 chickens later, I met Nina. Nina didn't have a name then, but a very caring human would name her the day after. Nina was severely disabled, both legs pretty much useless, using her wings to drag her body over the floor of the horrible, stinking shed. Rationally, Nina should have stayed. But even when thinking coldly, the heart tends to make the final decision. So, Nina became the 25th comrade that was freed from that hellhole the night before her slaughter. For Nina that we do this. It is for all of the Ninas. Don't let your fear dominate you. Be smart and empty all cages. There have been 643 liberations reported in the UK in the past 12 months. 643 individuals, and that number does not include wildlife being released from traps, economic sabotage or any other actions. To those who partook in these actions and to those who gave a safe space to the liberated, we would love to show our love, our solidarity, our respect and our gratitude to you. You are truly heroes. True revolution for a change in the system in defence of the earth. Until every cage is empty, until every mouth is full, until every prison is a library, and until everybody is free.